The notification pinged at 2 a.m., slicing through the silence of Ethan's cramped Brooklyn apartment. His phone glowed, casting shadows on the peeling wallpaper, and the words on the screen stopped his breath. "You've got a match." He stared, heart pounding, at the profile picture of a man with sharp cheekbones, a mischievous grin, and eyes that seemed to hold a secret someone he swore he'd seen before. Ethan, 27, wasn't new to dating apps, but this match felt different. The guy, Alex, had a bio that was equal parts witty and vague, looking for someone who can keep up. Bonus points if you love late-night talks and bad puns. Ethan's fingers hovered over the keyboard, unsure how to respond to someone who felt so familiar yet so out of reach. He worked long hours as a junior graphic designer at Pinnacle Advertising, a sleek Manhattan firm where creativity was king and stress was a close second. Dating was a luxury he rarely afforded, especially after his last breakup left him questioning if love was worth the risk. But Alex's messages were relentless. By morning, Ethan's inbox was flooded with playful banter. "So, what's your go-to coffee order?" "Don't say pumpkin spice, I'll judge." Ethan laughed, typing back, "Black coffee. No frills." "You." The reply came instantly, "Espresso. Strong. Like my charm." Ethan's cheeks warmed. Whoever Alex was, he was good. Each message was a spark, igniting something Ethan hadn't felt in years: hope. At work, Ethan's days were a blur of deadlines and client pitches, all under the watchful eye of his boss, Julian Carter. Julian was a legend in the industry, 33, charismatic, and intimidatingly polished. His tailored suits and sharp wit commanded every room, but his reserved nature kept everyone at arm's length. Ethan admired him from afar, stealing glances during meetings, his heart racing whenever Julian's gaze lingered a second too long. But Julian was his boss, untouchable, a fantasy Ethan buried deep. That evening, Alex's messages took a bolder turn. "Ever wonder what it'd be like to kiss someone you just met?" Ethan's breath hitched. He typed, deleted, then typed again, "Maybe. Depends on the vibe." Alex's reply was a winking emoji followed by, "I bet our vibe would be electric." Ethan's stomach flipped. He didn't know why, but Alex's confidence reminded him of Julian, the same effortless charm, the same teasing edge. The next day, Ethan arrived at Pinnacle early, his mind still buzzing from Alex's late-night texts. He was tweaking a campaign design when Julian swept into the office, his presence like a storm. "Ethan, my office. Now." His tone was clipped, but his eyes held a flicker of something softer. Ethan followed, nerves jangling, expecting a critique. Instead, Julian leaned against his desk, arms crossed, and said, "Your work on the Lawson account was impressive. You've got talent." Ethan blinked, caught off guard by the praise. Thank you, Mr. Carter." Julian's lips twitched, almost a smile. "Call me Julian." That night, Alex's messages grew more personal. "What's your biggest fear?" Ethan hesitated, then typed, "Being seen for who I really am and not being enough." The reply took longer than usual. "I get that, but I think you're more than enough." Ethan's heart ached. He didn't know Alex. Not really. But those words felt like a lifeline. Over the next week, Ethan's worlds began to blur. At work, Julian was suddenly everywhere offering feedback, brushing past him in the hallway, his fingers grazing Ethan's when he handed over a file. Each touch sent a jolt through Ethan, and he hated how much he craved it. Meanwhile, Alex's messages were a constant pull, each one more intimate, more daring. If I saw you right now, I'd probably forget how to speak. You're that kind of beautiful. Ethan blushed, torn between flattery and suspicion. Why did Alex's words echo Julian's cadence? One evening, after a grueling day, Ethan opened the app to find a new photo from Alexa. Candid shot of a man in a suit, standing by a window with the Manhattan skyline behind him. Ethan's heart stopped. The suit, the posture, the vibe was Pinnacle's office. He zoomed in, his pulse racing. The man's face was blurred, but the watch on his wrist was unmistakable, a sleek silver piece Ethan had seen on Julian's wrist countless times. His phone slipped from his hand. Was Alex, Julian? The thought was absurd, impossible, yet it explained everything: the familiarity, the charm, the way Alex seemed to know exactly what to say. Ethan's mind spiraled. If Julian was Alex, why the secrecy? Was this a game? A test? Or his chest tightened something real? The next morning, Ethan marched into work, determined to confront the truth. He spotted Julian in the break room, pouring coffee, his sleeves rolled up, that damn watch glinting under the fluorescent lights. Ethan's resolve wavered, but he couldn't back down. Mr. Carter Julian, he started, voice shaky. Can we talk? Somewhere private. Julian raised an eyebrow, his expression unreadable. Of course. My office. 5 minutes. Ethan's heart thundered as he followed Julian, the door clicking shut behind them. He didn't know where to begin, but he knew one thing: the line between Alex and Julian was about to blur for good. Julian's office was a fortress of glass and steel, the Manhattan skyline framing him like a portrait of power. Ethan stood frozen, clutching his phone, the weight of his discovery pressing against his ribs. What's on your mind, Ethan? Julian's voice was calm, but his eyes, those same eyes from Alex's profile, held a spark of curiosity. Ethan swallowed hard. I think I know something about you. The words felt reckless, like stepping off a cliff. Julian tilted his head, a faint smile playing on his lips. Do you now? His tone was teasing, but there was an edge to it, like he was daring Ethan to say more. Ethan's courage faltered. What if he was wrong? What if this ruined everything: his job, his dignity, his fragile hope? He took a breath and plunged forward. Are you on a dating app? Under the name Alex? The room went still. Julian's smile faded, replaced by a look Ethan couldn't decipher: surprise, maybe, or something deeper. That's a bold question, Julian said, stepping closer. Why do you ask? Ethan's phone burned in his hand. He pulled up the app, showing Julian the photo of the man by the window. This is you, isn't it? Julian's gaze flicked to the screen, then back to Ethan. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Julian laughed, a low, warm sound that sent shivers down Ethan's spine. You're perceptive, he said, leaning back against his desk. Yes, that's me. I didn't expect you to figure it out so soon. Ethan's heart lurched. So, all those messages, the flirting, the late-night talks, that was you? Julian nodded, his eyes never leaving Ethan's. every word. Ethan's mind reeled. Why didn't you tell me? Why hide it? Julian's expression softened. And for the first time, Ethan saw vulnerability in the man who seemed untouchable. Because I'm your boss, Julian said quietly. And because I didn't know how to cross that line without scaring you off. The app, it was a way to talk to you. Really talk to you. Without all the walls we put up here. Ethan's chest ached with a mix of anger and longing. You could have been honest, he said, voice breaking. Do you know how confused I've been? Thinking I was falling for some stranger, when it was you all along. Julian's eyes widened, and he stepped closer, close enough that Ethan could smell his colonus sandalwood, sharp and intoxicating. Falling for me, Julian repeated, his voice low. Is that what you're saying? Ethan's face burned. He hadn't meant to admit that, but there was no taking it back. Maybe, he mumbled, looking away. Julian reached out, his fingers brushing Ethan's chin, tilting his face up. Ethan, he said softly, I've been falling for you since the day you walked into this office. Your sketches, your quiet focus, the way you light up when you talk about art, it's been driving me crazy. The confession hung between them, heavy and electric. Ethan's heart raced, torn between disbelief and desire. Then why the games? He asked. Julian sighed, dropping his hand. Because I'm not perfect. I'm your boss, and I've got a reputation to protect. But when I saw you on that app, I couldn't resist. I wanted to know you, the real you, not just the guy who makes my coffee runs. Ethan laughed despite himself, the tension breaking. You're kind of a jerk for that. You know. Julian grinned. That same mischievous grin from Alex's profile. Maybe. But I'm a jerk who's crazy about you. The words sent a thrill through Ethan, but doubt lingered. What happens now? You're still my boss. It's complicated. Julian nodded, his expression serious. It is. But I don't want to hide anymore. I want to figure this out together. If you'll let me. Ethan's breath caught. He wanted to say yes, to throw caution to the wind, but fear held him back. What if this was a mistake? What if Julian's charm was just a fleeting thrill? Before he could answer, Julian's phone buzzed on the desk, shattering the moment. He glanced at it, his jaw tightening. It's the Lawson client. I have to take this. Ethan nodded, stepping back, his mind a whirlwind. We'll talk later, Julian promised, his eyes lingering on Ethan's as he picked up the call. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He stared at his phone, at the string of messages from Alex, Julian, each one now laced with new meaning. I think you're more than enough. The words echoed in his mind, battling the fear that this was too good to be true. He typed a message, then deleted it. Typed another, then deleted that too. Finally, he sent, I don't know what to do with this, but I want to try. Julian's reply was instant. Meet me tomorrow. Central Park. 7 p.m. No apps. No secrets. Just us. Ethan's heart pounded as he agreed. Tomorrow, everything would change. Central Park at dusk was a canvas of golden leaves and soft shadows, the air crisp with autumn. Ethan stood by the Bethesda fountain, his hands shoved deep in his jacket pockets, nerves twisting in his stomach. Julian was late, and doubt crept in. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe Julian had changed his mind. Then he saw him, striding through the crowd, his coat flapping in the breeze. His eyes locked on Ethan like nothing else existed. "Thought you stood me up," Ethan said, trying to keep his voice light. Julian smiled. That same heart-stopping grin. "Never. Got held up at the office. You know how it is." Ethan nodded. But the reminder of work-off Julian's role as his boss hung heavy between them. Julian seemed to sense it. "Let's walk," he said, gesturing toward the tree-lined path. "No desks. No deadlines. Just us." They wandered through the park, the city's hum fading as they talked. Julian was different here, unguarded. His laughter easy as he shared stories of his college days. His love for old jazz records. His fear of never living up to his own ambitions. Ethan found himself opening up too, talking about his art, his dreams of opening a gallery, the ache of growing up in a small town where he never quite fit. "I always felt like I was hiding," Ethan admitted, staring at the ground. "Until I moved here. Until you." Julian stopped walking, turning to face him. "You don't have to hide with me," he said, his voice soft but firm. "I see you, Ethan. All of you." The words hit like a wave, and Ethan's eyes stung. He wanted to believe it, but the stakes felt impossibly high. "What happens when we go back to work?" he asked. "People will talk. They'll judge. You're you. And I'm just. You're not just anything." Julian cut in, stepping closer. "You're brilliant, talented, and braver than you give yourself credit for. And I don't care what anyone thinks. I want Thysis." Ethan's breath hitched as Julian's hand found his, their fingers intertwining. The touch was electric, grounding. Everything Ethan had imagined in those late-night messages. They sat on a bench overlooking the lake, the city lights reflecting like stars. Julian's thumb traced circles on Ethan's hand, and the silence between them was warm, alive with possibility. "I was scared too," Julian admitted. "Hiding behind that app, it was easier than admitting how much I wanted you. But I'm done hiding." Ethan looked at him, heart pounding. "So am I." Their first kiss was soft, tentative, then deepening with a hunger that took Ethan's breath away. The world fell away, leaving only the warmth of Julian's lips, the steady beat of his heart against Ethan's chest. When they pulled apart, Julian's eyes were bright, his smile unguarded. "Worth the risk?" he asked. Ethan laughed, nodding. "Worth everything." But reality loomed. At work, whispers followed them. Colleagues noticed Julian's lingering glances, Ethan's shy smiles. One day, a coworker cornered Ethan in the break room. "You and Carter. Huh. Be careful. He's not exactly known for commitment." The word stung, planting seeds of doubt. That night, Ethan confronted Julian. "Is this just a fling for you?" "Because I can't," his voice broke. Julian's face softened, and he pulled Ethan close. "This is real," he said. "I've never felt this way about anyone. I'm all in." They navigated the challenges together: office gossip, HR meetings, the weight of their roles. Julian fought for transparency, disclosing their relationship to the board, risking his reputation to protect Ethan. Ethan, in turn, poured his heart into his work, proving he was more than the boss's boyfriend. Their love grew in quiet moments: late-night takeout in Julian's apartment, sketching together on lazy Sundays, stolen kisses in the office elevator. Months later, at a company gala, Julian took the stage to announce a new campaign Ethan had designed. "This," he said, holding up Ethan's work, "is what happens when talent meets passion." His eyes found Ethan's in the crowd, and he added, "And when you find someone who makes you better." The room buzzed, but Ethan only saw Julian, his heart full. Their story wasn't perfect, love never is, but it was theirs, built on courage, honesty, and the beauty of being seen. As they stood together under the gala's twinkling lights, Ethan knew one thing: accidentally matching with his boss was the best mistake he'd ever made.